Hi guys, and welcome to the Plymouth vs Sunderland match preview. So we do finally return back to club football this weekend after the international break, which was, it's just so boring for me. I know I've said this on the channel loads of times, international breaks, it's just not for me. And I'm not just saying, when England are playing the taps teams that they have been playing, and granted, I know they haven't been fantastic, England, they haven't been particularly convincing, I just don't find it fun. I probably do just prefer the underdog style of club football. Like with Sunderland half the time, they're generally an underdog, or I don't know. I can just never really get there unless it's in the actual tournament themselves, be it the Euros or the World Cup. I can't get into the qualifiers too much because England have such an expectancy on them to win. I can't get into it at all, and I don't think it's glory hunting to say that. I just can't get into it, and I find it boring as shit. But either way, anyway, on to club football, on to more interesting things. We do take on Plymouth. Fair play to the travelling fans that are going to be making their way down. It's a hell of a way down there. And Plymouth currently 19th in the league. At home, they've actually picked up some very significant and some impressive victories. One that stands out is, I think it was 6-2 against Norwich the other month, which was a big one. And they've picked up some impressive wins there. I think the Blackburn fairly recently, or at some point throughout the season, but they haven't won. They've only won one out of the last 5. Again, they've played some decent teams. Like Leeds last time out, they got beat 2-1. I think not long before that, they got beat by Ipswich 3-2. But they do have some players to keep an eye on, particularly, of course, Barley Mumba, former Sunderland man, who I absolutely adored, and I still think it's absolutely criminal that we let the lad go for the amount he did. For us, he was playing largely as a central midfielder, and he's dropped to a wing back for when he did go to Norwich, and then he's at Plymouth now, playing well. I really enjoyed watching him, and I wanted him to grow with Sunderland. That obviously isn't the case, but he wants to keep an eye out. He does start for Plymouth generally. But for us, of course, we did manage to get ourselves back to winning ways against Birmingham after a tough 0-0 draw against Swansea. We went up against 10 men. We dominated the game throughout, but we just could not pierce that Swansea back line. It was a really frustrating game. Fans were getting on the back. I was fuming. But then we managed to put the sort of annoyances to bed against Birmingham, get ourselves back to winning ways after a decent performance. It was okay. It weren't perfect. Some individual performances definitely weren't perfect either. But we did see the likes of Mayenda come on, which was really promising. It was exciting to see how she's got her first goal for the club. Of course, this time we do have our usual pairing, our usual centre-back partnership of O'Nien and Ballard to return. Tony Mowbray in the pre-match press conference did say that, of course, O'Nien is fine. He's done his suspension, as has Ballard. Ballard picked up a knock away with internationals, which he seems to do every time he goes to the international break. It's just a God-given right at the moment for Dan Ballard to get himself injured. But apparently he has trained today, and it's just a case of seeing how he reacts to training today. If he has a bit of a knock or is feeling something tomorrow, he probably and likely won't be travelling on Saturday. But hopefully he does come through unscathed and he gets to train a bit more tomorrow as well. So what I will do is the usual, go to my preferred starting 11. Not my predicted, but my preferred, and I'll explain a little bit as to why. So this is what it looks like. It's the usual 4-2-3-1. Now, of course, at left back, there's no one there. For some reason, the app that I do use, Trey Hume, isn't alive. So I do have Pato in goal. I have returned both Luke O'Nien and Dan Ballard in hope that Ballard is fit. I know that is a little bit harsh on Sealt and Triantis, but I just feel like those two, it was such sort of considerable circumstances where, Sealt come in originally to cover, and we're going to have Sirkin or Hume, as a centre-back, but then Sirkin got injured in the warm-up, so he can't be starting, he won't be starting, he's still injured, he's not training at the moment. So then we had to bring Triantis again, so it was not only one player making his starting debut, but two making his starting debut, and they were both a centre-back partnership. It wasn't like it was one left-back and one right-winger. It was our centre-back partnership that's generally the glue to our defence and our sort of backbone as a whole. So we managed to get away with 3-1 win, and I don't think they played poorly. I think the opening to the game, they were both very shaky, almost as expected, and they did grow into the game, and I need to give them credit for that. But when you've had the partnership of Luke O'Nien and Ballard that's formed, you have to give them, you need to put them back into lineup for me. And I'm not usually one to disrupt a winning team, but again, I just feel like this was an exceptional circumstance. So those two for me, the return, Nuggins, Huggins at right back. Daniel and Job in the middle. I would drop Ekwah. I know it might seem harsh, but it wasn't only like he just had a bit of an off day last time out. He was absolutely awful, and it was the worst I've seen Ekwah in a long, long time. I know it sounds harsh to drop him purely for that, but then when you've got the likes of Al-Shishu come on and he lit the place up, and Mayenda did, to be fair, he looked very, very good, but I think he might be a bit too much to start him this weekend. But Al-Shishu come on, and when he has come on, whenever he has done, he has impressed. He's looked very, very bright. So when you've got someone who has such a poor performance in Pierre Ekwah, I think it's only fair for Al-Shishu, who's been coming knocking on and he's showing the quality he has. I think it'd be fair to bring him in. I think this is probably the best way to do that, with Job sitting back a bit, because he can do the box-to-box role. Joe Bellingham, I do prefer a team in the final third, but Al-Shishu is looking very, very classy in the final third. So like I say, with Clark alongside him, Patrick Roberts fresh from signing a new contract, and Rusin as well starting again, who I think looked absolutely fantastic. The way he was chasing down, he was linking up the play, looked really bright on the ball. Arguably should have put the ball in the back of the net early on against Birmingham and didn't. But he looked absolutely fantastic with his link-up play, and then he was probably very, very harshly, in my eyes, brought off. And he wasn't even replaced with another striker either, which was a bit of a question mark over Tony Mowbray's decision-making there. But I think he absolutely deserves to start again. So that would be my lineup, I think. Might be a little bit harsh on the likes of Ekwah and maybe on the centre-back partnership as well. You might say, right, we won't risk Ballard and we'll put Sealt in there, or Triantis, whichever one you want to go for, and maybe keep Ekwah on. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. But this is probably the one I would like to go with. And I think it'd be very exciting to see how she start as well, and then Mayenda coming on later on. I've been very, very excited by those two, and it's been annoying that we've had to wait through the international break to see it again, but that is probably what I'll go with. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Now, for my score predictions, I do think we're going to win this one. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as it you might look when you look on paper. They're 19th, they've won 1 in 5, but they do score goals. It's very rare that they don't. But I do think we're going to come away with a 2-1 win. I do think we'll get ourselves an early lead. I think they'll get a very quick equaliser. And then in the second half, at some point, I'm going to go for a Mayenda goal. I'm going to go for the first goal for Mayenda is going to come as a winner this weekend. I think he'll get it to make it 2-1 to Sunderland. I should probably put a bet on that now because that's very specific. A 2-1 Sunderland win with Mayenda to score the winner. That's my tip for you guys this weekend. But that is everything. That is the preview to the game on Saturday. My review of the game won't be until Sunday because I'm working on Saturday, but I can slyly watch the game. But either way, if you have enjoyed, please hit the like button for me. It would be massively, massively appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care, stay jammy.